Hi everybody. I'm going to try not to bounce so much this time, but I do have my notes that I'm going to be reading from a little bit just because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So today I'm going to be talking about the different steps to purchasing a home. I know this is going to be really great information for anybody who's maybe a first or second time home buyer. It's just going to give you kind of an outline of things that you can expect. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick a location. I know that sounds pretty simple, but you got a lot of folks that want to move from out of town. They just want to get away from where they are. But you really need to narrow down a location before you start talking to a real estate agent. Figure out, am I going to work here? Is it just for vacation? Is this going to be my forever home or is this just a step? So kind of get an idea of what you're looking for and where you want to be. Next, you're going to get a real estate agent. Find somebody, maybe a friend has said that they had a really great experience with this person, or maybe they have really great reviews, but definitely talk to them in person. Make sure that you guys click, because you're going to be working on them on one of the most important decisions of your life. So make sure it's someone that you can get along with and someone that you feel, some trust with. Next thing you're going to want to do is find a lender and get pre-approved. So one of the reasons that I say to speak to a real estate agent first is because they're going to know a lot of the lenders in the area. So they're going to be able to say, oh, well, this is your situation, so this is the lender that will probably match with you best. This will be the one that will be the most efficient in your specific scenario. So get with your real estate agent, let them help you out with finding a lender, and then get pre-approved. Basically, that's just going to say we will finance you with this type of loan for this amount of money. And you need that before you start looking at houses, because the last thing anybody wants to do is go look at a house, fall in love with said house, and then realize there's no way they can afford it. Or not look at a house that looks amazing because they think they can't afford it. So, double-edged sword. All of it can be prevented by just getting with a lender and getting that pre-approval first. It's also a good way for the real estate agent to protect themselves, um, because sometimes we don't have an office to meet our clients in. And so getting that pre-approval kind of shows us this is a real person who's really looking to purchase a property and isn't just trying to waste our time or just look at a bunch of properties just to look at properties. Okay? So next thing you're going to do, obviously, is find a home. Find something that you love. Don't ever feel pressured into buying something that you don't like. You really want to take your time or pounce if it's just perfect. If you get really lucky, I've had it happen one time, no, twice, where my client, no kidding, just saw one place and was like, this is the one. And we put a bid and got it. It doesn't happen all the time, but don't feel like you have to look at 10 properties before you put a bid in on one, because you might have missed out on the one that was the perfect one while you were looking around. If you find the perfect one right away, don't hesitate. But if you don't find the perfect one, don't jump on it. Don't feel like you have to do that. It's a pretty big expense, so you should love it. Now, when you find the home that you love, you're going to put in a bid, and that's done with a contract and an EMD, which is your earnest money deposit. Typically, that's going to be about 1% of the purchase price that you're offering. So if you're going to bid $300,000 on the home, you're going to accompany your bid with a check for $3,000 that your agent's going to send. Well, a lot of people do it differently, but for me specifically, I have you wire it to the title company that's handling the transaction. I don't want to touch the money at all. And as say, probably most agents work that way. So then you go into your negotiations phase with the seller. Do you want some help with closing costs, or do you want a longer inspection period? Things of that nature. And I'll do a whole nother video for that. But once you get to the end and you guys are fully in contract, all terms are agreed upon, then you're going to go to your lender and the title company and let them know that you've gone under contract so they can get the ball rolling. One of the things that your lender is going to need to do is schedule the appraisal. That's to make sure that the house is actually going to appraise for what you offered, because a lender isn't going to finance you up to an amount that the house isn't worth, right? Which is good for you. We'll come back to that later. But while they're doing that, you're going to schedule an inspection. You're going to schedule a home inspection and also a 4-point inspection and a wind mitigation. And then in addition to that, you're going to schedule, all of those can be done by the same person, by the way. Make sure you get an inspector that can do all of those at the same time, and it'll save you some money and some time. Most of them can. But also you're going to schedule a WDO inspection, which is wood destroying organisms, so termites. So once you've got those done, you're going to go over the results of the inspections with both of the inspectors. Some realtors will talk to you about it. I would rather let you talk directly to the professional who does that for a living, who's certified in inspecting, because they're going to be more thorough in explaining things, and they're going to know everything that they wrote down. They're going to understand everything that they wrote down. Where something might look a little bit off to me, they're going to completely understand what they wrote, and they're going to be able to explain it to you significantly better. And it's just better to let the liability lie with the professional that's providing that service. So speak to them, go over the results, and if there's anything that needs to be fixed in order to be on par with the contract, then that needs to be in, you need to inform the seller of that. Your real estate agent will inform the seller in writing, and then they can, most times they're going to repair it depending on what it is. If it's like they have to replace the entire roof and they weren't expecting that, the contract might just fall through because they're not ready for it. And they don't have the financial means, so they're going to have to stay in the house a bit longer until they can afford to do that, or they're going to have to go to maybe a cash buyer. And if you're not ready to be that cash buyer, then that deal's going to fall through because you're not going to be able to get financing for something where the roof has to be replaced. So if it turns out that there are just some simple repairs that need to be done, maybe there was some wood damage, but it's not it's not horrible, but it needs to be done either because you want it done or because your lender says it needs to be done, then you would just speak with your agent, who would relay that information to the seller, and they can either fix it or decide not to. If they decide to fix it, then once they had provided the excuse me, once they had provided proof that they had it fixed, then you're going to want to schedule your inspector to go back out there to the property to confirm that it was actually done. You don't just want to say, oh, well, they said it was done. So next thing you're going to want to do, okay, then we're moving on to closing. So the day of or the day prior, you're going to want to do a final walkthrough just to make sure the house is in the same condition that you expected it to be in whenever you close. For example, if the refrigerator and the washer and dryer and some other appliances were supposed to convey, you want to make sure they're still in the property whenever you go to close. And you want to make sure there aren't any holes that got put into the walls when they were moving furniture that aren't fixed. You know, it's just a really good idea to go walk through the property the day before or maybe the morning of before you close. So after that, then it's on to closing time. And a lot of times you'll close at the title office, or actually a notary can come out to the property that you're purchasing. You can do it right there at the counter, you know, in your new home, and it's wonderful. And you're going to sign off on 1,300 pages. Not really, but your wrist is going to feel like that. So get ready for it. But it's awesome because right after that you get the keys and you're ready to move into your new home, or you know, whatever you're going to use it for. Maybe it's for one of your kids or it's an investment property. But either way, you have the keys and you're ready to go. So I hope this information helps, and let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, bye for now.